Back to Messi. Messi! One of one. Never to be replicated.
38 years old. Hat-trick. World Cup record. And a tackle so bad that it may end up being the most debated moment of the entire tournament. Last night in Kansas City, Lionel Messi did something that has never been done in football history. Taw his first World Cup hat-trick, while simultaneously finding himself at the center of a refereeing storm that, according to sources online and in broadcast media, has football split right down the middle. This is the story of a night that should have been simple. It wasn't. To understand what made this match feel so charged from the very first minute, you have to know what was at stake before a single ball was kicked. Argentina arrived at Arrowhead Stadium as defending World Cup champions, facing Algeria in Group J. Messi, reportedly playing in what most observers consider his final World Cup, carried 15 goals into this tournament, one short of Miroslav Klose's all-time record of 16. The moment felt loaded before kickoff. It became historic within 17 minutes, and then it became something else entirely, 20 minutes after that. But we'll get to that. The match opened at a pace that suggested neither side had read the script, that said tournament openers are supposed to be cautious affairs. Lautaro Martinez was a constant menace in those opening exchanges, pressing Algeria's backline and winning the kind of second balls that swing tempo. Argentina looked sharp, organized, and hungry, the hallmarks, reportedly of a Scaloni side that prepares meticulously for group stage opponents. In those first few minutes, Algeria were not simply sitting deep waiting to absorb. They were pressing back, moving with purpose, and according to several analysts speaking after the match, they looked considerably more dangerous than most neutral observers had anticipated before kickoff. Then, in the 17th minute, Messi did what Messi does. From a position outside the penalty area, he struck a first-time effort that totally for, according to widespread footage circulating since the final whistle, Tali flew past Algeria goalkeeper Luka Zidane, the son of France legend Zinedine Zidane, before the young goalkeeper had time to set his feet. 1-0, 16 World Cup goals, level with Klose, the record tied. Arrowhead Stadium, already a sea of light blue and white, erupted in a way that reportedly shook the structure. Messi ran to the corner. His teammates piled on. That moment alone would have been enough to fill a documentary. But the night had more to say. And not all of it was beautiful. Because 7 minutes before halftime, in the 37th minute, came the incident that has since overtaken the hat-trick in large sections of football discourse. Messi went into a challenge for possession against Algeria captain Aïssa Mandi. Footage of what followed has been shared millions of times in the hours since, and what it appears to show, and it is important to frame this as what the footage appears to show, rather than confirmed fact. Is a studs-up lunge from behind that caught Mandi on the lower leg. Mandi went down in visible pain. The Algerian players appealed immediately. The referee, Szymon Marciniak, the same official who took charge of the 2022 World Cup final between Argentina and France, assessed the challenge in real time and showed no card, not a yellow, not a red, nothing. VAR initiated a review, according to reports, and then reportedly, VAR also chose not to intervene. Messi stayed on the pitch. Mandi, after treatment, continued, and the debate started immediately. What makes this particular controversy difficult to dismiss is the specific nature of where the debate lands. The question is not simply whether the challenge deserved a red card, though that question is very much alive in football circles. The more confounding part, according to commentators and former officials speaking across multiple broadcasts, is how any challenge that generates this level of concern produces no card whatsoever. The conventional logic applied to challenge severity debates runs something like this. If an incident is close enough to red to cause serious argument, the realistic minimum outcome in most assessments is a yellow. A clean pass with no punishment at all is reportedly the outcome that has left the widest range of observers most surprised, regardless of where they land on the red or yellow question. On Spanish broadcast coverage of the tournament, there were reportedly 2 former referees who reached different conclusions. One argued, according to sources, that the nature of the contact, studs making contact with the back of an opponent's leg, constitutes serious foul play as defined under the laws of the game, and that similar challenges involving less prominent players in less prominent matches have produced direct red cards. The other stopped short of red, reportedly describing the challenge as reckless rather than with excessive force, and suggesting a yellow would have been the appropriate call to Lalseb, while still concluding that showing nothing was an error. ESPN's Nedum Onuoha, speaking in broadcast coverage, was more direct, stating he believed it should have been a red card. That is the most honest framework for understanding this debate, not as a confirmed scandal, not as settled proof of bias, but as a genuine ongoing argument among people who analyze these decisions professionally, with informed voices landing in different places to the yellow, at minimum being the most widely held view, red being the stronger end of that argument, and no card at all being a position that reportedly very few analysts are actually defending. Where you land on that spectrum is legitimately a matter of football judgment. What is harder to argue is that the outcome was uncontroversial. It plainly was not. There are wilder claims floating across social media, allegations of conspiracy, accusations about the integrity of the tournament, theories about superstar protection that go considerably further than anything verifiable. The honest position is this: the challenge happened, it is on camera, it was reviewed by VAR, no card was shown, and reasonable football people are disagreeing sharply about what should have happened. Anything beyond that, allegation, any claim presented as confirmed, sourced to unnamed insiders, or framed as guaranteed fact, should be treated with appropriate skepticism until verified by reliable outlets. The footage says what it says. The argument from there is a football argument, and it deserves to be had on football terms rather than inflated into something that serves a predetermined conclusion. It is also worth acknowledging that this is not the first time Messi and officiating controversy have occupied the same sentence. He famously used the word corruption in relation to a Copa America red card in 2019. He has questioned VAR at previous tournaments. Argentina's relationship with refereeing debates across major competitions is reportedly a long and well-documented one. Whether that history is context or distraction depends entirely on your starting position. What it does confirm is that the broader football conversation about whether elite-level players receive more lenient treatment from officials than their teammates and opponents, that conversation has been happening for years and did not start last night. Whether it applied specifically here is something every viewer watching the same footage is entitled to judge for themselves. What should not get buried in the noise is Algeria's performance. For a team that many pre-tournament assessments had largely written off, the Desert Foxes showed enough in patches to suggest they are not simply making up the numbers in Group J. There were moments in the first half where their movement was sharp and their press caused Argentina genuine discomfort. The performance of Lucas Zidane in goal facing a Messi in the kind of form that makes defenders look ordinary, that was, according to several post-match reports, considerably better than the scoreline might suggest. 3 goals in a match where your opponent is Messi at peak motivation is a tough scoreline to defend. It does not mean Algeria are finished. In Argentina, whatever debate surrounds one moment in the 37th minute were outstanding. Their pressing was relentless. Their structure absorbed Algeria's best moments without panic, and Messi completed his hat-trick in the 76th minute with a curled finish into the bottom corner that drew applause, reportedly from sections of the ground wearing green and white. He was substituted shortly after to a standing ovation. 16 World Cup goals, level with Klose. The outright record now sitting directly in front of him for however many matches Argentina have left to play. Messi made his World Cup debut exactly 20 years to the day before this match. He scored in that one too. So here's where Group J stands. Argentina topped the table with goal difference emphatically in their favor. Algeria have a mountain to climb, but showed enough to suggest the remaining fixtures against Austria and Jordan are not foregone conclusions. FIFA's disciplinary process, which does, according to precedent, occasionally review incidents retrospectively that went unpunished in real time, may yet become a storyline in the days ahead. Whether it produces any retrospective action remains genuinely uncertain and entirely unconfirmed at this point. 2 questions for the comments. Having watched the footage yourself, where do you land for Michu yellow card territory, red card territory, or do you believe the referee and VAR simply got it right by showing nothing? And separately, completely apart from any of that, how many more goals does Messi add to that record before this World Cup is over?